The gods. Hades. Hades is the ancient Greek god of the underworld, the place where human souls go after death. When the Greeks buried their dead, they placed coins under the corpse's tongue and in the eyes, so that his soul could pay the fare on the ferry across the river Styx. It was Charon who sold the boat. He was a miser. Souls who couldn't pay for the ride had to wait on this side of the river. Sometimes they'd come back to haunt those who hadn't given them the fare. On the other side of the river, there was a great wall. Its gate was guarded by Cerberus, a three-headed dog who had an appetite for live meat and attacked everyone but spirits. Beyond the gate in Tartarus was a great wide field, shaded by black poplars. Here lived the dead, heroes and cowards, soldiers, shepherds, priests, minstrels and slaves. They wandered back and forth aimlessly. When they spoke, they twittered like bats. Here they awaited trial by three judges: Minos, Rhadamanthys, and Iacchus. Those who had particularly displeased the gods were given special punishment. Sisyphus was made to push a huge rock uphill. Each time he would get halfway, it breaks loose and rolls back down to the bottom, and he has to start all over, and he will do this for all time. Tantalus has been given a burning thirst and set chin deep in a cool, clear stream of water, and every time he dips his lips to drink the water, it shrinks away, and he will remain like this while Sisyphus pushes his stone. But these are special cases. Most souls had to wait in the field of asphodel for nothing. Those judged to be of unusual virtue went to the Elysium fields close by, which were full of music and the brave, and who had the chance to be reborn again on earth. And they danced all day long and all night long, as the dead need no sleep. And a special part of Elysium, called the Isles of the Blessed, here lived those who had been 3 times born and 3 times gained Elysium. Hades and his queen lived in a palace of black rock. He was very jealous of his brothers and scarcely ever left his domain. He was fiercely possessive, gloated over every new arrival, and demanded a head count from Charon at the end of each day. Never did he allow any of his subjects to escape, nor did he allow a mortal to visit Tartarus and return. There were only ever 2 exceptions to this rule, but those are other stories. The palace grounds and the surrounding fields were called Erebus, and this was the deepest part of the underworld. No bird flew here, but the sound of wings was heard, for here lived the Erinyes or Furies, who were older than the gods. Their names were Tisiphone, meaning avenger of murder; Alecto, meaning unceasing in anger; and Megara, meaning jealous. They were hags with snakes for hair, red-hot eyes, and yellow teeth. They slashed the air with metal-studded whips, and when they found a victim, they whipped the flesh from his bones. Their task was to visit Earth and punish evildoers, especially those who had escaped other punishment. They were greatly feared. No one dared say their names. They were referred to as the Eumenides, or kindly ones. Hades valued them. They enriched his kingdom by persuading people to suicide, and he enjoyed the stories they returned to Erebus with. Hades was well cast to rule the dead. He was violent, loathed change, and was given to rage. As the ruler of the dead, Hades was a grim and ghastly figure, inspiring fear and terror in everybody. Consequently, he was rarely depicted in art. When he was most commonly portrayed with a beard and a solemn, mournful look. He frequently wears a helmet named the Helm of Darkness or Cap of Invisibility. Cerberus, the 3-headed dog, is usually by his side. Every so often, he carries a scepter or holds the keys to his kingdom. At a later stage, he became associated with his weapon of choice, the bident, a 2-pronged fork modeled after Poseidon's Triton. Hades means the unseen one. A suitable name since Hades is the ruler of an invisible world. However, the ancient Greeks rarely used this name, just like Christians rarely used the word hell during the Middle Ages. So since minerals and precious metals are found underground, they often referred to Hades euphemistically as Ploughton, the wealth giver. Unsurprisingly, Hades' Roman equivalent is called Pluto as well. As Ploughton, he was sometimes shown with a cornucopia, the horn of plenty. Among the ancient Greeks, Hades was known as the other Zeus. Homer even called him the infernal Zeus. In addition to the grisly god, he was also called the host of many, or the attractor of men, since all men eventually went to serve him. Hades was the fourth child of the Titans, Cronus and Rhea, after Hestia, Demeter, and Hera, both the oldest and youngest male sibling, as he was the youngest of the three brothers, Hades, Poseidon, and Zeus, to be born and swallowed by his father, but the last to be regurgitated. After being rescued by Zeus from the belly of Cronus, Hades joins him in the Titanomachy. Eventually, the decade-long war ends with victory for the Olympians, and Hades, Poseidon and Zeus cast dice to decide who of the brothers will rule which domain. And Hades gets the underworld. Since Hades was a fearsome deity who rarely left his kingdom, there are very few myths about him in ancient Greek sources. By far the most important myth is Hades' abduction of Persephone, Demeter's daughter. That was one of the few times Hades traveled above ground. The reason naturally being love. He fell for Persephone. However, she didn't want to give in easily, so Hades devised a ploy. As Persephone was gathering flowers with her maidens at the Nysian plain, he caused an indescribably beautiful flower to suddenly bloom before her. As she reached to pluck it, the ground around her opened up and Hades appeared before her, all dreadful and majestic in his four-horse, golden chariot, and took her with him to the underworld. Demeter, the goddess of fertility, was so distressed at the absence of her daughter that she started fasting and wandering aimlessly. Finally, after 9 days, Hecate told her what happened, and after the all-seeing Helios confirmed the event, Demeter left Olympus in protest, and the earth turned barren and infertile as a desert. After a year, Zeus sent Hermes to Hades with the request that he return Persephone to her mother, to which he complied, but only after making her eat a pomegranate's seed to bind her to his kingdom eternally. Now both sides had no choice but to accept Zeus' compromise. Persephone would spend 2/3 of the year with Demeter, but 1/3 with Hades. And this is the part of the year which corresponds with the winter months. And every spring would be reunited with her mother, marking the season of rebirth. It's possible that Hades and Persephone didn't have any children. However, some say that Zagreus may have been their son, and Macaria is also claimed to be Hades' daughter, but no mother is mentioned. As the realm of the dead, Hades is mentioned 10 times in the New Testament in its original Greek text. Older translations, such as the King James Bible, invariably translate it as hell. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like, share and subscribe, and hit that notification bell for upcoming videos.